Quick question. How many times did you rewrite that text? Before sending it? You know the one I'm talking about. The casual message you spent 20 minutes crafting. The one where you typed it out. Deleted it, retyped it differently. Changed one word, read it again. Then finally hit send. Now tell me, were you being yourself? In that moment, here's something nobody wants to admit. When you say, I just want to be myself, you're lying. Not to me, to yourself. Because what you really mean is, I want to be myself, as long as people like me for it. And that tiny addition, it changes everything. In the next 9 minutes, I'm going to expose 3 psychological traps you're falling into right now. And one of them is happening as you watch this video. Comment guilty if you've already caught yourself doing it. I'll tell you which one at the end. The relatability. Let me paint you a picture. You're getting ready for a party, right? You tell yourself, I'm just going to be me tonight. No filters, no pretending. But then, you change your outfit 3 times. You rehearse that one funny story in your head. You practice your laugh in the mirror. Don't lie, we all do it. So what happened to being yourself? Here's the thing, we've been fed this cultural fairy tale. That being yourself is the ultimate goal. Just be authentic. Be real. The right people will love you for who you are. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? There's just one problem. It's not actually true. And deep down, you already know it. That uncomfortable feeling in your stomach right now. That's your brain recognizing something it's been hiding from you. Drop a comment. Have you ever truly been yourself? Without caring what others think? Be honest. I'm watching. The uncomfortable truth. Let me tell you about Sarah. Real person, real story. And I guarantee you'll see yourself in this. Sarah was a graphic designer who decided she was done with people pleasing. She was going to be herself at work, no matter what. So she started speaking her mind in meetings, showing up in sweatpants, telling her boss exactly what she thought about every project. 3 months later, she was updating her LinkedIn. Now you might be thinking, good, she was being authentic. Those corporate drones couldn't handle the real her. But here's the twist. And this is where it gets crazy. Sarah wasn't being herself. She was performing a different character. The I don't care what anyone thinks character, which is just another mask. Designed to get a different kind of approval. She wanted people to see her as brave, as authentic, as real. Think about that for a second. Even rebellion is a performance. Because here's what nobody tells you. Every version of yourself you present, it's curated, it's edited, it's designed, consciously or unconsciously, to generate a specific response from others. Think about it. You act one way with your boss, another way with your parents, another way with your best friend, and another way when you're alone at 2 a.m., scrolling through your phone eating cereal in your underwear. So which one is the real you? The answer? All of them. And none of them. Quick question. How many different versions of yourself do you have? Comment a number and be honest. I bet it's more than you think. The psychology. Wait, before we go further, I need to show you something. That'll make all of this make sense. Right now, literally right now, there's a part of your brain that's older than language, older than tools, older than fire. And it's screaming at you. It's the same part that kept your ancestors alive for 300,000 years. And here's the insane part. It can't tell the difference between being excluded from a group chat and being left alone in the wilderness to die. I'm serious. There's a UCLA study that hooked people up to brain scanners and found that social rejection, someone unfriending you, getting left on read, being excluded from plans, it lights up the exact same pain centers as breaking your arm. Your brain is treating that text from your ex like a physical attack. That's not a metaphor. That's neuroscience. So when you're lying in bed at 3 a.m. replaying that conversation from 2014, that's not you being crazy. That's your survival system doing exactly what it was designed to do. Obsessively monitoring threats to your social standing. Because for 99% of human history, losing your tribe meant death. No tribe, no protection, no shared food, no one to watch your back while you sleep. You were done. And that system, it's still running. Every single second. Comment below. What's the most embarrassing thing you still think about? Let's normalize this madness together. The paradox. Here's where it gets really interesting. And you're going to hate me for pointing this out. The people who scream the loudest about being authentic, they're often the most calculated. Look at social media influencers who preach authenticity. They'll post a raw, unfiltered selfie. After taking 47 shots and choosing the perfect casual angle, they'll share a vulnerable moment. That's been carefully scripted for maximum engagement. I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm saying they've figured out the game. Authenticity is a brand, and it's a brand that sells really well. Because it promises the thing we all desperately want, to be liked for who we are. But here's the uncomfortable question. If you were truly yourself, with zero concern for how others perceive you, would you even shower? Would you wear pants? Would you have any social skills whatsoever? Probably not. Because the self you want to be? It's already been shaped, molded, and trained by thousands of social interactions, each one teaching you. This gets approval. That gets rejection. Actually, you know what? Let me test this right now. Think about the last time you posted something on social media. Before you hit post, you probably read it over 2 to 3 times. Changed a word to sound smarter. Maybe added an emoji to seem more casual. Checked it one more time. Hovered over the button. Then finally posted it. Then what happened? You check back in 5 minutes. Then 10 minutes. Then an hour. Counting likes. Reading comments. Don't lie. You know you've done this. So here's my question. In that moment, were you being yourself? Or were you performing? You were performing. Just like I'm performing right now. Comment. What's the longest you've ever spent crafting a casual text? I once spent 20 minutes on sounds good. Let's expose this together. The real solution. Alright, this next part. This is where most people mess it up. So listen carefully. I'm about to give you a framework that literally changed my life. And when my friend Marcus used it, he went from crippling social anxiety to being the most confident person in the room. Not fake confidence. Real confidence. But here's the catch. It requires you to admit something uncomfortable. Something your ego is gonna hate. You ready? Here it is. Stop trying to be yourself. Start trying to be honest about the approval you're seeking. I know that sounds backwards. Seeking approval is supposed to be bad, right? But here's what nobody tells you. When Marcus was pretending he didn't care what anyone thought, he'd show up to networking events in ripped jeans and a hoodie. He'd say things like, "I'm just keeping it real, and corporate culture is fake." But inside, he was miserable. He wasn't getting hired. He wasn't making connections. And worst of all, he knew deep down that he was performing. Just a different performance. The "I'm too cool to try" performance. Then one day he asked himself, who do I actually want to impress? And something clicked. He realized there's a massive difference between saying, "I don't care what anyone thinks." That's a lie you tell yourself to protect your ego. And saying, "I care what some people think, and I'm choosing whose opinions matter to me." That's power. That's strategy. Because once Marcus admitted, you know what? I do care what potential clients think. I do want to be seen as professional and capable. Suddenly the exhausting performance of not caring disappeared. He started dressing well. Not because society told him to, but because he chose that his professional community's approval mattered to him. And that honesty, that set him free. Here's your action step. And I really want you to do this. Make a list. Right now. Whose approval do you actually want? Your family? Your professional community? Your creative peers? Random strangers on the internet? Then ask, do these people's values align with mine? If yes, great. Optimize for their approval consciously and guilt-free. If no, stop performing for an audience that doesn't matter. Pause this video and actually do it. Then comment, who did you realize matters most? Let's help each other prioritize the deeper truth. Okay, now I'm going to tell you something. That's going to make you really uncomfortable. You might even get mad at me. But it needs to be said. You know that real you keep trying to find? The authentic, unfiltered version? The one hiding underneath all the masks? The one you'll finally discover if you just do the inner work and be true to yourself. It doesn't exist. Wait, hear me out. I'm not saying you don't exist. I'm saying the idea of one true self is a myth we've been sold. Think about who you are when you're completely alone. No phone, no mirror, no possibility of anyone seeing you. You're probably picking your nose, having imaginary arguments with people, rewatching The Office for the 47th time, making weird faces, talking to yourself. I once spent 45 minutes rehearsing how I'd accept an award I was never nominated for. That's the real me. And here's the thing, that private, unfiltered version, it's not more authentic than the version you show the world. It's just a social. It doesn't connect. It doesn't communicate. It doesn't create anything that resonates with other humans. So maybe, just maybe, the goal isn't to find yourself. Maybe the goal is to build a self worth sharing. A self that says, yeah, I care what you think. Not because I'm desperate or weak, but because I value connection. And connection requires me to be someone worth connecting with. That's not fake. That's not selling out. That's called being a human being. We're a social species. We're supposed to care what each other think. The problem isn't that you care. It's that you've been caring about the wrong people's opinions. Remember that trap I mentioned at the beginning? The one you're falling into right now. Here it is. You're performing, being the kind of person who understands deep psychological truths by watching this video. And you know what? That's okay, because at least now you're aware of it. At least now you can be intentional about it. So let's recap. You don't want to be yourself. You want to be liked. And that's not a weakness. It's biology. The solution isn't pretending you don't care. It's choosing whose approval matters, being honest about what you're performing, and building a self worth sharing. Now here's what I want from you. 3 things. First, drop a comment right now and finish this sentence. I stopped trying to be myself when I realized. Let's get honest about being authentic together. Use those exact words so I can find your comment. Second, if this hit you where it hurts, share it with someone stuck in people-pleasing mode. Send them this video. They need to hear this. Third, subscribe if you want more uncomfortable truths like this. I post videos every week that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about yourself. Remember, the most authentic thing you can do? Admit you're performing. Because that honesty, that's where real connection begins. Now go build a self worth sharing. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. So make sure to subscribe to see them.